Matt Emroy back again. It is Saturday, April 2nd of 2016. It's fairly late. It's about 10:30 at night. I'm kind of restless. I had a late dinner and had coffee a little too late, so the caffeine's kind of keeping me up. So I thought we would go ahead and do a Q&A video. As most of you guys know, I get a lot of questions through the YouTube channel, and I get so many, in fact, that it'd be really hard for me to give a typewritten response to every single question. So basically what I'm doing now, about once a month, I'm going to go through the comments, and I'm going to get about 2, maybe 3 pages of them, the ones that I think are worth putting in a video, and we'll go ahead and discuss them. So without further ado, let me get started with this. And I do apologize if I missed your comment. It may not be on purpose. A lot of times I don't always see them in my community button. For some reason, a lot of times I'll get them in an email that you guys sent me a comment, but they won't actually show up later on. So that's a problem with YouTube. Hopefully they'll solve soon. So let's get started. The first question I have is Sam Heron asked me, does this guy have a website? Well, yes, I do have a website. If you look in the description of any one of my videos, I have a link. It's through Wix. It's wix.com/YouTube Media. And if you go into the description of any one of my videos I've put up within the last month or so, you can just go ahead and click on it, and that will bring you to my website. Natalie Sutton said, so glad you're happy with the system. Mine is barely 2 years old and the motherboard died on me today. Of course, it's out of warranty. I'm finding lots of posts about this system having no power or no post. Dell is doing nothing about it. Would love to get in contact, get the contact info for everyone who has had the same issue and file a class action lawsuit against them. This was in response to my Dell XPS 8700 unboxing. Natalie, you're not the only one that's actually said that to me. I know the YouTube user by the name Vloggin' Life had a similar Dell XPS, and the motherboard has died on it. His was a little bit older, though. I think his was from like around 2012. From what I understand, the problem is not with the power supplies like a lot of people were thinking. The power supplies are actually made by Delta in these computers, and they are very solidly built. It's definitely a motherboard issue. A couple of people have said that they think it may be capacitor issues. Not capacitor plague, not like when they burst, but sometimes they'll be giving off the wrong voltages. So it would be nice if Dell would warranty their stuff a little bit longer, especially when you buy a Dell XPS, because when you spend that extra money to get the XPS, you expect really good quality. Toll Dude 123 asked, I had bought a bunch of C batteries at a store when it went out of business 2 years ago. I've been storing the batteries for 2.5 years in the fridge. Is that a good place for batteries? I hardly use C batteries, so I'd like them to last a while. It's not going to hurt the batteries, but you're not going to get any more longevity out of it. From what I understand, when you store batteries, you want to store them under 50 degrees Fahrenheit. As long as you're storing them under 50 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to get a long-lasting battery. I think there is a chart online. You guys can do the research if you want through Google. But it'll tell you that the different temperatures, how long the batteries will keep their charge. So, no. The simple answer is it will not hurt the batteries if you keep them in the fridge. Just make sure that you do keep them sealed. If I put batteries in the fridge, I'll go ahead and put them in a Ziploc bag. That way moisture doesn't get to them, because if moisture gets in there, the batteries can start to expand and eventually explode. But no, won't really hurt it. Pug Williams, do you go to the dollar store every day? Just about. Yeah, I'm really a dollar store junkie, as most of you guys have probably figured out already. Dollar Trees we have everywhere in our area, like most places in the U.S. now, and it's just a great place to get what you need. I mean, you literally can do if you want, you could do your whole week's shopping there. Now, we don't. We go to Aldi's. We have another store called Food Line that we go to in our area. But yeah, I mean, I'm in need of something, and yeah, I probably go there. I'm not going to say every day, probably at least every other day. Tom Wild As regards to the motherboard power plug being too close, generally the motherboard, the case, and both are made by different companies for Gateway and don't meet until final assembly. Also, they aren't generally built to be taken apart very often. Great video. That was in response to the Gateway GT5656 video that I replaced the power supply in. Yeah, unfortunately, I find that a lot with these pre-made computers, and you're right, because Gateway, years and years ago, they used to actually make all of their components. As a matter of fact, in our area, we had the Gateway factory, and all the components were actually made by Gateway and assembled here. But as of around 2003, when the factory closed, Gateway kind of centralized all their manufacturing somewhere in the Midwest, and that's when they started getting parts from different manufacturers to actually put their computers together. So, yeah, that's when that really started being a problem. I actually have a Gateway Essentials PC down here. A Pentium 3 from about 1999, from when Gateway made all their parts. One day I'll actually show the insides of that, and you will see how much better designed that computer really is. Got another one from TallDude123. This is in response to the Linksys router, the AG router that I picked up at the garage sale the other day. He says, I have a dual band wireless router for my ISP. It's a router / modem combination, and it works well. I use the 5.8 gigahertz band with my smartphone. However, my laptop doesn't have a dual band wireless card, so I have to use the single band 2.4 gigahertz signal. Yeah, I have that same problem. As a matter of fact, my Kindle Fire, because I have the $40 one, only allows you to use the 2.4 gigahertz band. I also have a couple computers that run wireless in the house, and they're running on some cheaper wireless end cards, and those don't go up to the 5.8 gigahertz band. The only two wireless devices I have that do accept the 5.8 gigahertz band are my HTC One M8 and my iPad 2. Now, here's the really weird thing. In my area, I actually get better connectivity with a 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth over the 5.8. I'm not sure why that is. I can only surmise that maybe a lot of people in my immediate area on my street are using newer AG routers at the 5.8 gigahertz bandwidth. Because, matter of fact, if I take my cell phone and I go downstairs, if I connect it to the 5.8 gigahertz band, I only get about 2 wireless bars. If I go for the 2.4 gigahertz, I get full bars. So it just depends on your area. Don't immediately think the 5.8 gigahertz band is going to be better for you. You just have to do your, once you get the router, you kind of just have to, it's trial and error. You got to do your research and find out what works best in your area. Hopefully I'm going to get this right. Percane writes, great finds, Matt. I got lucky about a year ago and picked up a large box full of computer power cords, DVI cables, VGA cables, all for free. Every time I find them for free or cheap, I pick them up. I can never have too many. Yeah, especially for me, power cords, DVI and VGA cables, pretty much all of them. Power cords are pretty much a dime a dozen. I pick those up quite often. DVI cables are also fairly cheap. The one thing that I have a hard time getting around here are VGA cables, and I can only surmise that that's because a lot of the businesses around here probably still use them, and when they go bad, they just want to go ahead and get them as cheaply as possible, so they'll go pretty much everywhere they have to pick them up, and that's the only thing I could figure. But getting secondhand VGA cables around here, very, very difficult. Okay, Garth Arnezd. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Forgive me, but I'm doing the best I can here. Tried it with my cat once with the kid when the kids poured a bottle of bath oil on her. Ooh, that is never good. She went totally berserk in the bathtub and scratched us to pieces. That's in response to the video that I did of bathing my cat LT. I'll tell you guys, she is a nut sometimes, LT. As I've stated before, for those of you guys that haven't seen any of my other videos, she was a feral rescue that we picked up when she was a couple of months old. We got her at our local gas station. Somebody dumped her out. So she had no human contact for the first probably I would say a good couple of first weeks at least. I know that from the story is the person that dropped her off maybe a week or two earlier. So I figure the cat was only about 2 weeks old when it was dropped off. It's really amazing that she lived as long as she did. But once we got her, we pretty much realized she was going to be a feral cat. It took her years and years and years to warm up to us. And she does like us now, but she does not like strangers at all. That is one of the worst baths I've ever had with her. She usually does not mind water. I don't know if it was because the camera was on her or the time of day, but usually she's a lot better than that. And next time, I will use as another YouTube user suggested, I'll use a cup to wash her off. The reason I had to put her head underneath the faucet is I just forgot to bring the cup in. And again, she usually doesn't mind that at all. Denical 16. This is a long one, so bear with me. Aww, LT is so cute. I've been washing my kitty in the kitchen sink. It's so much easier and better on my back, and I can be over with, let me see, I can be over her, which really helps. Yeah, absolutely. Kneeling down in that garden tub, yeah, it's really trying on my body. I think I am going to try to do that next time. Then I can use a sprayer on low to rinse her real good and get her under bits. Love the way he said that. I also put her harness on her, which is really just a small dog harness. Keeps her calm and also gives me something to grip onto. I have my towels on the counter to set her on when I'm done, and then bleach out the kitchen sink. Those noises LT makes, I'm sorry I had to LOL a bit. She sounds like you are killing her. LOL, thanks for sharing. Yeah, I never heard her make those sounds before. She will meow when you bathe her, but that howling is something new to me. Again, it could have been the time of day or the fact that I had the camera on her. I probably will not film her when she takes her bath next time. She's getting older, and I just don't want to put that kind of stress on her anymore. Michael wrote... don't ever buy... Oh, I'm sorry, this is Michael Smith. The last name got cut off. Michael Smith wrote, don't ever buy Walmart grab-and-go pizza. It's absolutely horrible. The crust tastes like cardboard. I'll take your word for that. I've never actually had a Walmart grab-and-go pizza. I assume you mean the ones that I always see near the deli. I just, like I've said before, I like to get my stuff from Aldi's now. Their grab-and-go pizza is absolutely delicious. We do that at least once a week. You bring it home. You literally takes maybe 10 or 15 minutes to cook it. And once again, we use the pizza stone when we cook it. I've noticed that if you use just a regular metal pizza pan, the top will get done, but the bottom will be kind of mushy. The crust won't actually cook properly. The pizza stone holds in heat better than regular metal. So basically, once the top's done, you can take it out of the oven, and even if the crust isn't quite crispy yet, the stone is going to have heat for another 5 or 10 minutes. So all you have to do is leave the pizza on there for that amount of time, 5 or 10 minutes, and you can go ahead and cut it, and the crust will be perfect, just like you're getting it out of a famous New York pizza restaurant, which shall remain nameless. All right, Jonathan Dominic wrote, I didn't find much in my thrift store ventures today. Just a couple of shelves and an old Panasonic alarm clock. My mother, on the other hand, got some nice things. She got some nice Corning cookware and a new couch. It's been hit or miss over here, really. I've done better with the garage sales than I've been doing at the thrift stores. Talking about cookware, I did see at the thrift store today some cast iron skillets. They were Lodge brand, and I almost picked them up, but I actually called a friend of mine first, and they were asking $15 a piece for them, and he said that was right on the money. And of course, being someone who doesn't really cook with cast iron, the only thing I could do is maybe resell them. So he said to just leave them there. He said he didn't think there was much profit in that, so that's what I did. You know, I could be wrong. We could be wrong. If we are, hopefully somebody else will get a good deal on those. As for the couch, I did purchase a couch when we first moved in the house from a thrift store, and it was excellent. It lasted me for a good 4 or 5 years before I upgraded to a larger one. And yeah, I mean, you can find some really good things at thrift stores, not just electronics, but pretty much anything. Housewares, clothes. I mean, lately I've been buying shirts and pants at thrift stores since I've lost some more weight. I now find stuff there that actually fits me. I got one last question here for you guys. The Alien Races Tech Channel wrote, those retro games are kind of pricey on eBay right now. Could get $10 to $15 for a game right now. Those systems alone are going for $26 to all the way to $65 for them. That's in response to the garage sale find video I did a few weeks ago when I picked up the 2 Game Boy Advance SP systems with all those games. To give you an update on that, I did wind up selling both the systems and most of the games. I did keep the Super Mario Brothers games because I have a lot of fun playing those. I had the Super Mario Advance, Advance 2, 3, and 4, which I think is the equivalent to Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3 for the original NES, Super Mario World, and there's one more I don't remember off the top of my head, but I did have a Game Boy Advance SP here. Let me show you this real quick, guys. I think you'll get a kick out of this. I picked this up a couple years ago at a garage sale for $1. It's pink. Yeah, obviously a girl had owned this at one time. It's in really bad shape cosmetically. It's got major scratches on there. It's got a few minor scratches on the screen. But the reason I've kept this is one of the ones that has the brighter screen. This is the very last model that they made of this. And I really like that. The 2 that I got from that garage sale had the older screen on it, the one that was just barely backlit, and with my eyesight, I mean, I could barely see it. It really amazes me how beat up this is and how good it still works. I mean, the battery holds a full charge, and I really haven't had any problems at all with it. Well, that's going to be it for the Q&A video tonight. It's getting pretty late now. It's getting on to about 11, so probably going to go ahead and get to bed because I'm going to try to go to church tomorrow morning. I think we are going to do a fire tomorrow, a pit fire, provided the rain holds off. Like I've said in my previous video today, it's just everything was a washout. I mean, we had so much flooding, it was almost unbelievable. The road near my house luckily was okay, but if you were to go out of our development to one of the main roads, it was like a pond, and it took a couple hours for it to go down. We were kind of stranded in the house for much of the late morning and early afternoon. Hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A video. Please remember to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.